Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my great pleasure to be with you here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And an even greater pleasure for me to be with certainly somebody who's an icon for many people in the world, and especially for me, somebody I have admired for many years from afar. So it's a great pleasure for me to be admiring her from close up this time. Although I have to say, sitting next to a supermodel is perhaps not one of the highs of life in terms of, so don't draw any comparisons, please. Elle MacPherson is an Australian-born supermodel, entrepreneur. She has really helped push the frontiers of what it means to pursue a life of wellness and well-being. She was the founder of WelleCo, which was set up in 2014, which was very much a pioneer of wellness as an industry. And she was called in 1986 by Time magazine, The Body. And I think we can all see why. And she has graced and continues to grace the covers of many, many magazines. Elle, wonderful to have you with us. Welcome.
That is such an introduction.
Yeah, there you go.
To live up to.
Well, so Elle, how would you define wellness in a sustainable way? I mean, because it really means being comfortable, happy, and healthy. But you can't just do it, you know, punctuated during your life. It's something which you need to sustain. So how do you define well-being?
Yeah, that's really interesting because often, you know, we're here talking about sustainability and people are coming at it from very, you know, varied angles, and I think it's a wonderful buzzword at the moment. And for me, sustainability has always been about sustainable well-being. Like, how do we sustain our well-being so that we can continue to thrive and flourish in our lives? And for me, wellness in general is not just the physical well-being, but it's emotional, spiritual, and mental well-being. And so sustaining wellness is such a big part of my life and has been the foundation of building my wellness business, because I went through my own wellness crisis and wanted to look for solutions, and I found solutions, and then my purpose became greater than myself, and I wanted to share that with other people, and that was the foundation of why we started WelleCo. And what I realized is that when we are well, we are capable of thriving in our lives in the most natural, beautiful way, and we can shine in our lives and be the most, you know, make the most impact in our lives and the people around us. It's really important.
Well, I mean, clearly, Elle, flattering you here, left, right, and centre. It has worked because you have sustained your career for 40 years. So that element of sustainability also applies to all of us when we are trying to pursue our careers, our path, whatever it may be. How has that helped you engage in a sustainable career?
Yeah, having a 40-year career in a business that is usually defined by beauty, and therefore beauty equals youth, and we can often say that a career of a fashion model would be very short. In my experience, it's been a long career because I began to see that the similarities between beauty and wellness was way more important than the similarity between beauty equaling youth. So when you're well, and as you mature, that wellness shines. It's soul deep, you know, it's on a cellular level, and that is way more sustainable, way more long living, you know, it has way more longevity to it when you really look into your soul and you shine your beauty from your soul. It's not just those few millimeters of epidermis that are on the skin. And so, you know, redefining what it means to be beautiful has been a big part of my career. As from starting off as a model, I had jobs, and then I had a career, and then I built a brand, and then from that, I licensed my name, my brand to other companies, and then finally owning companies like WelleCo or being shareholder of a company like WelleCo.
Sure, I love that phrase of yours, which is beauty is not only skin deep, it's also soul deep, which kind of encapsulates what you've just said. So look, Elle, we're at the World Travel and Tourism Council, and it's worth noting that the wellness sector of the tourism industry is growing much faster than other sectors in tourism. And it's projected to actually be an industry worth $919 billion this year. And there are also figures which tell us that the average wellness tourist spends 53% more than the average international tourist. So clearly a burgeoning industry, looking very much as a growth region at the Asia Pacific. But how do you make sure that the offer for a wellness destination is a credible one?
Yeah, that's always it's always a bit tricky, because what is wellness? And for me, when I'm traveling, I'm really looking at traveling with purpose. And you know, we travel so much for business, but traveling with purpose, where you can go to a destination and really be imbued by the culture, get to know the people, break bread with the people, is extremely important. For example, I came here to speak today, but I came to Riyadh 4 days ago, so I could really get a feeling of what it's like to be here. And what I've learned is that the people are unbelievably generous and fantastic hosts, and extremely hospitable. The food is incredible.
Yeah, isn't it?
I've eaten my way around Riyadh.
I know, haven't we all?
And it's been, you know, just a really much more interesting experience for me.
Yeah.
And when I say wellness, I mean wellness, and that's like a spiritual connection also breeds wellness. A cultural connection breeds well-being.
Yeah.
And so encouraging cultural exploration, encouraging adventure when you go on a trip like this. I do things that are a bit unusual. I'll go to a spiritual site and maybe I'll meditate in that place, so that there's an exchange of energy. And there's just much more purpose and meaning in the kind of travel that I've been doing, which enhances my well-being.
Sure. Very interesting what you say, because you do see that, that point you make about cultural connections. You see that when, you know, people go to Bali, and when they go there for a wellness holiday or something, they'll have Chinese medicine or, you know, Balinese kind of methods put in. So that's very, very important. Look, during COVID, obviously, the pandemic meant that people could not travel anymore, and it's picking up now. But do you think that there is a growing awareness of health and well-being as a result of the pandemic? And also, do you think it's going to have an impact on how we travel in the future in a better way?
Yeah, it's interesting, because whilst people didn't venture outdoors, I think there was a lot of travel going on within. People were journeying within and discerning and discovering what was important to them in their lives, reconnecting with themselves, figuring out what worked for them in their lives and what didn't work for them, reconnecting with other family members. I mean, I know lots of fathers spent time at home with their children that they may never have done. Parents and families spent time together. And so while it was a very difficult time and people were locked down, they were very active within. And they were not stagnant. There was a lot of journeying going on. And then, of course, it highlighted the importance and the prioritizing of your well-being, especially your immune system. And so people have made lifestyle changes, and I've seen that in my business, the reconnection of people with WelleCo, for example, that offers tools and ideas about how to look after your well-being on all levels, emotionally, spiritually, physically, on many levels, has been something that we've seen continue throughout after the pandemic. And I think it's a really positive change.
Yeah, that kind of holistic approach, as you say. Finally, as you say, Elle, you have traveled a lot. You continue to travel a great deal. You've talked to us about that intersection between wellness and travel. So I know you like to swim and meditate and drink lots of clean water and so on. So just share with me, just personally, please, a few tips for how to travel well.
That's a good one.
Don't tell anybody, though.
Well, there's always two ways of traveling. So first of all, I see travel as a vehicle for spiritual and personal growth. You know, we have to adapt and be flexible when we're on the road. And that's actually a fantastic skill that we need as an entrepreneur. So traveling can really help you grow your personal skills. And that's the tips that I like to receive and to give. But and then, of course, there's all the biohacking. So I have a biohacking bag that travels with me around the world. And, you know, I have all the nutrients, my supplements from WelleCo. Drinking lots and lots of water is really important. I don't eat on the plane. I don't know if you guys have come from far. I came from Austin, Texas, where I was with my beloved who was working. And we flew into London, and then we came here, so it was a long flight, and we have a 15-hour flight home, and I won't eat on the plane.
Really?
But I'll drink a lot of water, and I take my Super Elixir, which is our 40-ingredient hero product, multivitamin and mineral. I'll take that when I leave and when I arrive. And you know, and I really look after my mitochondria, which is the little heartbeat of our cells through like hot and cold therapy. I have an infrared light that we travel with. And, you know, look after the body on the road. So often we travel and we kind of let it all go, and then we're trying to scramble when we get back home. It's so much easier to maintain health and well-being while we're on the road today. And there's so many wonderful tools. And most importantly, and last but not least, the best trick I have learned is to write a gratitude list at the end of the night. So I think about, and I usually write down what I experienced through the day, something that made me smile, something I learned, something that surprised me. And the more often I'm in appreciation of where I am, the more I feel that I magnetize those kind of experiences in my life. And I remember them because I've got the lists so that I can look through my books and I can go, remember that time I went to Riyadh and we had that fantastic conversation on this big stage?
Yes, yes.
It's very daunting, by the way. I don't know if anyone else has been up here. It's a very big stage.
It's lovely. Tips from the top, everybody, from Elle MacPherson. And I will write my gratitude list, and at the top of it will be gratitude to you, Elle MacPherson, for having this wonderful conversation with me. Isn't she lovely? Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here we go. Thank you.